Votes are coming up in Northeast Florida. We're tackling the topics of Jacksonville's budget, which is on the agenda in City Council this week. We're also looking at the races steamrolling toward important votes in the midterm election just 6 weeks away. Plus, Audrey Moran joins us, a Jacksonville leader now heading to the bench in Duval County. She shares how losing an election inspired the past dozen years of her life on This Week in Jacksonville. And thank you so much for joining us on this final Sunday of September. Audrey Moran is with us today, an attorney, mediator, elected as county court judge. She's going to take the bench in January, so welcome today. Thank you. I'm excited for you in this new role. And as I think about it, this is a fascinating addition to the already very interesting story of Audrey Moran. Served 2 different mayors, led a nonprofit in our city. How do you view this new chapter in your life?
You know, I feel it's a wonderful capstone to as you already mentioned, very diverse career, which I wanted. I never wanted to do one thing. I wanted to try many things, and I've had the chance to do that. But now I'm circled back to the law, and being on the bench is a privilege. I'm really looking forward to it.
Some folks, when it comes to voting for who's going to be judge, they kind of, their eyes gloss over. There's not much campaigning that a judge can do in some ways. But tell folks how it is that you're stepping into this role and who you're succeeding, I guess.
Yeah, so it's an interesting story. My husband made the decision to retire from the county court bench. He's been serving for over 32 years. He's the longest sitting county court judge in the 4th Circuit. And as he's making preparations for retiring, he said, you know, have you ever thought about being a county court judge? And that got the ball rolling, and I decided to put my name in the hat to be his successor. Filed for office, was fortunate not to gain an opponent, and so I was elected without opposition.
How about that? So you get some onboarding here. Even this week, I think you said you're shadowing or something like that?
I am. I'm shadowing a variety of judges on the county court bench, so I can kind of get a real feel for the different styles, the different approaches judges take. Judges are as different as humanity, right? Everybody has their own style, and so we're very fortunate. We've got a wonderful bench in Duval County, really talented jurists, and so I'm learning a lot.
I moved to the area and began here at Channel 4 late 2010. In 2011, there was this thing happening. I want to talk about that. Audrey Moran planning to speak at Tedx Jacksonville in just a few weeks. I understand you want to lean into what happened when you lost as you were running for election in 2011. You were running for mayor. How did that affect you?
You know, running for mayor is an experience like no other. 840 square mile city, diversity galore, all different neighborhoods, all different issues. And we ran for 20 months, a long campaign. It was an incredible learning experience. I loved every minute of it, even the hard stuff, and there's lots of hard stuff. But the promise I made to myself, Kent, was I'd run a race with no regrets. That's what we did. But losing is tough. I got to be honest with you. Toughest thing that's ever happened to me.
No kidding. So there were 5 or 6 candidates in that first election, and then it went down to 2, and you weren't part of that second group. I think I mentioned, for what it's worth, our political analyst, Rick Mullaney, was running in that same race.
He was.
And has expressed maybe some similar musings over that time. How long did it take you to reflect on that and to take away something positive from that tough experience?
You know, I'm happy to say it wasn't a long grieving period. I did lick my wounds for a few days. When you lose a race so publicly, when it is front page above the fold, top story on the 6 o'clock news, it makes it all the harder. And I had a lot of people come up to me and whisper, "Are you okay?"
How did you respond to that?
Well, it's like, I didn't die.
Right.
I didn't die. I'm really okay. Yeah. Flowers came to the house. I mean, the house looked like a funeral home. Wow. It was filled with flowers. And I can also remember, funny story, my daughter, overhearing her on the phone, she was 17 at the time, saying, no, I can't go out. My mother shouldn't be alone. Wow. So people worry about you, right? Yeah. And you're feeling a little sorry for yourself. But I would say after about a week, 10 days, my husband, once again, John Moran, looked at me and said, you know, Audrey, you spent over $1 million. You spent 20 months telling the people of Jacksonville how you thought we could be better. Now what? You need to use that platform for something good. That got me thinking about what I could do.
All right, so what emerged from that? Because it sounds like you're still thinking, okay, I'm not going to be mayor, but how can I make our city, our community better?
Exactly right. Mayor Moran was no longer on the table, but Citizen Moran still was. And I had made clear what I thought some of the critical issues were, and they were still issues, still important to me. First and foremost, the Human Rights Ordinance. There were a lot of people who voted for me and supported me because I made that issue central to the platform of my campaign, and they were devastated. Who was going to take up that mantle? And we decided that, you know what? We had an army of people who believed in equality, and we could still get that passed, even if I wasn't mayor.
Yeah. It took a little bit, didn't it?
It did.
A few years.
It did. We tried in 2013. It lost by 1 vote. That was rough. Yeah. And then in 2016, I was fortunate enough to be named chair of the Jacksonville Regional Chamber of Commerce, and I decided to use that platform to push for the Human Rights Ordinance. We gathered the business community together, we gathered leaders together, and we were smarter this time around. I will tell you, I was a little naive in 2013. I thought we could change hearts and minds. And one of the best political thinkers I know said to me, Audrey, this is hardball politics. If you want equality in Jacksonville, we're going to have to fight for it. Yeah. And that was a big wake-up call. But we had people like Shad Khan, who, when I approached him about helping, said, of course, an NFL city has to be equal, has to have equal rights for everyone. And he picked up the phone and called every city council person. Believe you me, when Shad Khan tells you an NFL city has to have an HRO, it makes a difference.
So wind us up here. I know we want people to come see you talk here at Tedx Jacksonville, but beyond what happened in your life specifically and applying to you, how does that apply broadly to everybody out there? What can everyone take from what you're talking about?
You know, sometimes setbacks are opportunities, a chance to look at the world differently, look at how you're approaching things differently. And I'll tell you, Kent, there is, I think, right now in our world, an effort by lots of different forces to silence people, to tell people to be quiet, to stand down, to don't say anything. And when those forces win, we all lose. And so what I hope comes out of the TED Talk that I'm going to give is the hope through examples for people to say, you know what, if I use my voice, if I stand up and bring others with me, we can change things for good. We can make a difference in this community. We've done it before, we can do it again, but I'm worried that when there's pressure to be silent, that people are going to start to give up. We can't give up. This is our city, this is our community. When we see something that's not right, we have to speak out.
And that pressure not to speak out comes in a variety of forms. Thank you so much, Audrey Moran. So I want you to know this year's TEDx Jacksonville Conference is taking place in October. The theme is Friction. It's going to be downtown at the Center for Performing Arts Saturday, October 27th. The conference begins at 11 o'clock that morning. And right there, we've got the website that you can go to if you want tickets, tedxjacksonville.com, and find out more there. Audrey Moran, it's always fun to get to visit with you. I thank you for sharing some time today.
Great to be with you.
All right, so we are diving deep into the upcoming vote on a budget in the city of Jacksonville. Chris Hand joins us next on This Week in Jacksonville. Don't go anywhere.
If you've been hurt in a car accident, our commitment gets real fast. We interview witnesses and gather evidence.
Farah and Farah, call us.
Sports analyst Frank Frangie, only on News 4 Jax.
You may be able to switch to a Care Plus Medicare Advantage plan today.
That's right.
Care Plus offers all the benefits of original Medicare plus more. Like money back on your Medicare Part B premium, help paying for groceries, and an allowance to order OTC products.
That's good.
Anna, don't forget, Care Plus earned a 5-star rating from Medicare. Again.
Call or go online today to enroll.
Don't you deserve a 5-star plan?
That's a pretty tight spot.
Watch this.
Your Buick Parks and so. That's so you.
Of course you know where we're going. That's so you.
Kinda got a sixth sense.
And a head-up display.
They're here.
You brought all these players in your Buick?
Yeah,
So you.
it is.
At the heart of every Buick SUV is you. Pay no interest on Buick SUV models. Buick, ranked #1 brand in the industry for new vehicle quality.
The new Florida 300 times the cash offers 28 prizes of $1 million or more. Get your hands on one-of-a-kind winnings. Only from the Florida Lottery.
It takes several sources of energy to bring you energy. There's natural gas, nuclear, solar, and something else. What led us to go green before it was fashionable and reduce our dependence on foreign oil back in 2001, all while standing up for the American values we hold dear. You must have a source of energy that's pretty darn special. Florida Power and Light.
Many times when people are injured at a place of business, they don't realize they may have a case. The fact is, injuries should not happen. And most of the time when someone is injured, someone is at fault. Maybe the store manager installed a cheap, slippery floor, or there wasn't proper security. After an injury at a hotel, restaurant, store, or any place of business, it's so important to call us. Time matters, size matters. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
You need to take safety right now.
Tracking hurricanes.
It's going to pick it up a notch.
Chief Meteorologist John Gahn and the Weather Authority, the people you rely on for trustworthy alerts.
That is Tropical Storm.
Exact Track 4D, advanced accuracy.
Exact Track 4D now indicating a possible tornado.
Tracking every hurricane miles beyond local shores, equipping you with more precious time to prepare your family.
Not done yet.
The Weather Authority, always watching, always tracking hurricanes. You're watching This Week in Jacksonville with Kent Justice.
Late September means voting time for city council members in Jacksonville. Specifically, they need to approve a budget for the upcoming fiscal year in Duval County. Joining us right now, Chris Hand for our regular Hand on Government segment. So, Chris, you've been part of this process as chief of staff from 2011 to 2015. What did Jacksonville residents really need to know about the city's fiscal plan for this next year, which is a record-setting $1.5 billion plan?
Well, Ken, I think you labeled the most important characteristic. It's big, the biggest we've seen in city history, fueled by a number of factors. One, obviously, a very robust real estate market, which has raised both residential and in some cases commercial property values. Obviously, the city relies significantly on property taxes to fund the government, so that's been a huge impact. Also, there's been money that's come from Washington through the American Rescue Plan. That's had an impact on this budget as well. So a lot of revenue this year, and then also spending it on a lot of key city priorities. We've heard the word over and over again in terms of infrastructure and how important that is to the city. And that's a big part of this. In addition to the $1.5 billion operating budget, there's a $500 million capital projects budget on issues like needed infrastructure here in the city. So a lot of revenue being spent. And as you say, City Council will make final decisions on that on Tuesday evening, September the 27th, when they have their final vote to pass a budget that will take effect on October the 1st.
Yeah, and Chris, on that note, that capital improvement plan budget, so it's an increase this year of 9% over the year before. But if you go back to the first year for Mayor Curry in 2015, it's $500 million this time. It was $71 million on the CIP in 2015, so it's grown a lot. I want to show some of the priorities that Mayor Curry laid out when he offered his budget proposal back in July. Property tax rollback, money for riverfront development downtown, a new fire station, and then more money for emergencies in the reserve fund. So, Chris, how might some of those priorities impact our daily lives here in Jacksonville?
Well, Ken, I think in a number of ways. When the budget was originally crafted was a period, obviously, where inflation was either at its peak or near its peak. So I think there are a variety of elements of this budget proposal that were aimed at trying to deal with the inflationary environment. Obviously, one thing you mentioned earlier is there was a minor property tax cut, but there were also some investments that were designed to help lower costs for people here in Jacksonville on a day in, day out basis. For example, the investment in fire stations. While that's important for public safety, it also helps to lower what's called the ISO rating, which has a downward impact on homeowners insurance and related costs. So there were a variety of spending items in this budget that could not only sort of help with what the tax bill looks like, but might also help with other everyday costs that Jacksonville citizens face.
You know, Chris, Mayor Curry focused on parks and development along the river and downtown, including the former site of the Jacksonville Landing. It's called Riverfront Plaza now, but we're going to show some video here. As part of his final budget, the mayor proposed a $25 million investment for a new park at the site. That grew to $27 million, with the Downtown Investment Authority weighing in this week on a $35 million plan to bring new high-rise apartments to the site. The overall price tag estimated $166 million. So, Chris, the city here, just because maybe some of us would be confused by it, is the city just sending $37 million to the developer, or is this kind of a mix of incentives?
Well, Ken, it's the latter. It's a mix of incentives like many development projects. Now, what sets this apart, it is an exceptionally large bundle of incentives. The overall project is about $166 million, as you said, and the city's contributions are very significant. For example, the developers are being offered a nearly $29 million property tax rebate. In other words, the property taxes that they would pay in the future are going to be discounted by about 75% for a certain period of time. That's worth about $29 million. The city is giving the developers about an acre of land. That's another $3.5 million there. There's a completion grant of about $2.5 million. And also the city is extending a loan to the developers of up to $29 million, about $2.5 million of which is forgivable. So the city's proposing to make a very significant financial contribution, and of course, you mentioned the cost of Riverfront Plaza itself, the park. Everything I'm talking about is in addition to that. Right. So the city's proposing to make a very significant investment in this particular development. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out over time. If you look at the term sheet that the Downtown Investment Authority approved, it specifies that the project must be completed no later than December 31st, 2027, and there could be extensions given, so it could be even later than that. Obviously, that's several years from now. We'll have to see what the economy does, whether there are any other potential factors that impact whether or not this project is ultimately built. But it does represent, if it does come to completion, a very significant investment, not only by the developers involved, but also by the city of Jacksonville.
And Chris, before we get to our commercial here in another minute, let's talk about something that's become a little controversial. Grants given to nonprofits. There's a $6 million pool from the city. Most recently, there's been debate about allowing even more nonprofits to apply, even though the deadline has passed. And we know Nate Monroe, the Florida Times Union, the columnist, he's criticized council for picking winners and losers among the nonprofits. Chris, how does funding for nonprofit organizations factor into the city budget?
Well, Kent, both Nate Monroe of the Times Union and David Barreline of the Times Union have written about this in the past week. Kent, typically the way funding is distributed to nonprofit groups that are not culturally related is through what's called the public service grant process. The city appropriates a certain amount of money. Nonprofits apply through this competitive process. Citizen volunteers who serve on the Public Service Grant Council review those applications, score them, and decide who's going to receive money and how much. Well, what's happened this year is the deadline to apply for those PSG grants was July the 1st. This year, the amount of money was actually increased from $3.5 million to almost $6 million. But what City Council has decided is that it wants to open up that application period again. So in other words, even though the deadline was July 1st and some nonprofits may not have made that deadline, they now will have the opportunity to apply again during the week of October the 1st. That has generated some controversy. There was some objection from the Public Service Grant Council, essentially saying that was unfair to the groups that did meet the July 1st deadline. But that is something that Council has included in the budget. If the budget passes, there will be a second window for nonprofits to apply for the $6 million amount of funding that is going through the Public Service Grant Council.
All right. So for our viewers out there, Chris Hand, he's worked at every level of government, local, state, federal. So we're going to look at those levels of the upcoming election. That's next on This Week in Jacksonville. Don't go anywhere.
We hear from our clients that they called the insurance company thinking they could handle it themselves, but got nowhere. We know how to deal with the insurance companies. It's what we do. Call Harrell & Harrell first, 251-1111.
Important financial moves to make before a storm, Monday.
In the next second, 14 families will decide.
That's it. We're getting a bigger house.
Finally.
But we gotta sell this place. before we buy the next place.
And then in the meantime...
So how long are you staying?
Emily, no!
Oh, a little cramped.
I am CPAP man.
That is not a toy!
Or skip the in-laws. Sell and buy your house with confidence. With Open Door. Move when you're ready.
That's it.
Indeed. Get your free offer at opendoor.com.
When you fall at a place of business, we stand up to the challenge. Farrah & Farrah, here for you, here for good.
My name is Austin James. As a musician living with diabetes, finger sticks can be a real challenge. That's why I use the Freestyle Libre 2 system. With a painless 1-second scan, I know my glucose numbers without finger sticks. Now I'm managing my diabetes better, and I've lowered my A1C from 8.2 to 6.7.
Take the mystery out of managing your diabetes and lower your A1C. Now you know. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Day or night, your loved ones show up for you. At HCA Florida Healthcare, we do too. Because you're the center of our family, Florida's largest healthcare family. And you'll feel it in everything we do. HCA Florida Healthcare. We show up for you.
Another busy day? Of course. You're a CIO in 2022, but you're ready because you've got the next generation in global secure networking from Comcast Business with fully integrated security solutions all in one place. So you're covered, on-premise and in the cloud. You can run things the way you want. Your team, ours, or a mix of both with the nation's largest IP converged network from the most innovative company. Bring on today with Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
If you're fed up every time you fill up, or ticked off whenever you pick up groceries, well, maybe it's time you had a governor focused on you. But Ron DeSantis is dividing Florida, bullying school children, passing an abortion ban with no exception for rape or incest, and doing nothing to lower costs for you. Here's my plan. Veto any bill that threatens a woman's right to choose. Force property insurance companies to lower rates, and cut the gas tax. DeSantis won't do it, but I will.
You're watching This Week in Jacksonville on Channel 4.
Thanks for staying with us as we continue our Hand on Government segment with Chris Hand, government law attorney. So generally, voting has begun with supervisors' elections across the state. They're sending out the mail ballots this week. Early voting starts in about a month, and then Election Day coming up November 8th. Chris, as we look at that, there's a good local or a big local election that's coming up in Duval County. It's the run for sheriff. T.K. Waters won 47% of the vote in August in the first election, just 3% shy of that amount needed to win. Does that make him an overwhelming favorite in November, or is this going to be a competitive contest with Lakeisha Burton?
Well, obviously, Kent, close doesn't count in elections. You have to get 50% of the vote plus at least one other vote to actually win. And so I think it will be competitive in November, as we've seen in these November elections in even-numbered years. Duval County has become very much a swing county where either a Democrat or a Republican can win. So those dynamics, I think, do make the sheriff's race competitive, for the November election. Of course, important to keep in mind that this sheriff's race is just for to fill the term that was vacated by former Sheriff Mike Williams. So this is just to fill a term that lasts through July 1 of 2023. We'll be right back here and do all this over again in March and May of 2023 for a full 4-year term.
Chris, can a sheriff who's elected and then only has about 7 months before another term begins, can they really make a difference on that biggest issue that we hear from people, which is crime in Jacksonville?
Well, one area where they probably can't make a difference during that time is on the budget. Obviously, the city of Jacksonville budget that one of these two candidates will be living under as the next sheriff will have been passed by the time they actually take office. So there's a limited amount they can do to change the budget. That's already going to be in place. But there are certainly other tools that a sheriff can use in terms of policing philosophy, other techniques in the categories of enforcement, prevention, and intervention that a sheriff might use. And of course, whoever wins the election in November is obviously going to be trying to serve more than a 7-month term. Their plan will be to run again in March and May, and hopefully, in their case, have a full 4-year term.
Let's talk about the U.S. Senate race that's coming up here. Marco Rubio running for his third term in the U.S. Senate. The last several polls have shown that this is a pretty close race here. Why is the race so close? What are the stakes for November?
Well, the stakes are crucial in the sense that control of the United States Senate, which right now, is evenly divided 50-50 between the two parties, with the vice president casting a tie-breaking vote. Control of the Senate may well come down not just to this race in Florida between Marco Rubio and Val Demings, but also to the race in neighboring Georgia, part of the WJXT viewing area, between Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. So control of the Senate is at stake. And as you say, a very competitive race here in the state of Florida. Most of the polls show this to be a dead heat. The candidates within the margin of error. And that's probably a function of a variety of things. One, elections tend to be close here in the state of Florida. Two, Congresswoman Demings, who's actually originally from Jacksonville, but represents Orlando in the U.S. House of Representatives, has raised a significant amount of money, actually outraised Senator Rubio for a variety of parts of this campaign, so has the resources to build her name recognition and compete on relatively even terms with the incumbent U.S. Senator. So this race will be at the top of every ballot in the state of Florida in this general election. Likely to be very competitive and likely to be yet again another very close Florida election.
And Chris, only 1 minute for this last topic, but we got to talk about it. Governor Ron DeSantis facing former Governor Charlie Crist, and lots of national controversy over the governor using the state of Florida dollars to fly Venezuelan immigrants from Texas to Massachusetts. What do we know about this? Again, 1 minute left.
Well, again, I think this is another competitive race, although one that at the moment seems less competitive than the race for the United States Senate. There have been a couple of polls in the last few days that show Governor DeSantis with about a 7-point advantage over former Governor Crist. He's also raised a significant amount of money. At this point, I think more than $150 million for the campaign. So there is an advantage to the incumbent Governor DeSantis right now. But as always, this is Florida. Statewide elections, particularly at this level, tend to be very close. We'll have to continue tracking this through Election Day.
Yeah, and of course we will. Chris Hand with our Hand on Government segment today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ken.
All right, so Andrew Rush plans to join us next time. He's an innovator, and we're talking about the benefits of exploring space and specifically manufacturing in space. This Week in Jacksonville airs each Sunday morning at this time. I'm Kent Justice. Thanks for watching today on air on Channel 4 and the CW17, and then online at news4jax.com or streaming on News4Jax Plus.
See why every day more people are choosing News 4 Jax, Northeast Florida and South Georgia's #1